Hello and thanks for watching my video. Today we're going to look at Cisco UCS integration with Microsoft. What we're going to show today is PowerShell integration with Cisco UCS and how we can use that integration from UCS to communicate and do things with Microsoft Windows. The PowerShell module for Cisco UCS is called PowerTool. And so how we're going to start out here is we're going to look at a newly minted server that I've called Demo Server. And if we come over here, we notice that this server has 10 network interface cards on it. And I'm going to press the refresh button here just to prove no hocus pocus. But they're all sitting at their default values. Now, when we're generally setting up a server, and if we've got a bunch of NICs like this, it takes us a while to figure out which NIC is which. So we can give it a proper name and maybe do other settings to that server so we can set its function up. Normally, we'd maybe have to go in here and pull up status, pull up some details, and we'd have to look at various things like IP address, which in this case, hey, I didn't get an IP address on this NIC, so that doesn't do me a lot of good. So I might have to go figure out like the MAC address or something like that and what that's doing. But being that we're integrated with Cisco UCS, if we look at this MAC address here, 0025B5017E04, well, if I go ahead and come over to my UCS Manager, and what I could do here is I can come over to my servers, and we've got, if we look at my list of servers, we have my demo server here. And I pull up this demo server, and I come over to the network tab, and we see that we have all the MAC addresses for the different NICs. And if we look, there's our 7E04 NIC, which is a NIC called VEM, which is a virtual Ethernet module for Nexus 1000V, completely different topic. But just to show you that the nice thing is, UCS, you gave the names of what you wanted your MAC pools and your NICs and all that to be, and then you assign, with stateless computing, this idea of assigning from pools, policies, and templates, we assign from a pool of MAC addresses these various MAC addresses for the NICs. So since we have a full XML API with PowerShell capability into it with PowerTool, I can leverage that information to use that to make changes, for example, to applications or the Windows operating system itself. So I'll come over here to my PowerShell screen, and what I've got up here is a PowerShell script that I have posted on communities.cisco.com, and there'll be a link at the end of the video on this. But this script simply goes in and renames your NICs to whatever the configuration was that it was set in UCS. And there's full command line parameters available with this, or you can run interactively. And I'm going to do the command line version where I'm going to execute the script. I'm going to provide the IP address of my UCS. I'm actually going to have it use my saved credentials file, which is an encrypted set of credentials for UCS. The IP address of one of the NICs on the server. And then make sure that my firewall's disabled or set up to allow WMI so I can make the rename. The credentials required to get into the server. Again, I'm using saved encrypted credentials. And then if there's any errors, report the errors, but just keep on going in case one of the NICs can't be renamed or something. So what I've done is I've fed the parameters that we just looked at up into my feed line here for my input parameters, and I'm going to go ahead and execute now this script. And we'll very quickly see the system log into my UCS, connect to the server, look up the UUID of the server so it can validate which server that is in UCS. So it connected basically to the physical server. That was my demo server, looked up the UUID, compared that to UCS, found that that's the one called demo server. From there, then it went in and it looked at the physical NICs and any Hyper-V related NICs that might be in there and processed through and did the NIC rename. And so if we come back now and hit our refresh button, so let's go ahead and hit our refresh button here, we see that all of the NICs have been renamed. Now, earlier we had looked at the one called VEM. So let's open that one up and pull up the status on that one, pull up our details. Now, we still don't have any IP address on this, but we see that when we looked before that the one that in UCS Manager was listed as VEM, is that 7E04 that we originally looked at, just to prove that, I didn't just throw random names on here. I was actually using the data from UCS. So this is just a small example of the power of combining UCS stateless computing, pools, policies, and templates with the full XML API and PowerShell with Microsoft that can leverage the ability to do things like this for an individual server or maybe hundreds of servers in just a matter of seconds, saving you a lot of time and accuracy in your workday. So I hope you enjoyed this video, and please come back and look for other videos soon.